Hi, Colin here. Welcome to your S3 tutorial, which we hope will paint a clear picture of how S3 can work within your community to reduce falls and staff strain while improving quality of life. With me as always, my partner Ann.
I'm excited to share S3 with you and your community. S3 has 5 basic functions: balance training, transfers, strength training, flexibility training, and fall recovery. S3 facilitates an active user, taking demand off you to boost progress and independence. As you know, there's major strain on staff from having to move and lift people, which is unsustainable. S3 reverses this trend, but you must be willing to make it part of your routine. Why work harder if you don't have to? Now let's take a look at the features of S3. Non-skid adaptable feet help keep S3 from sliding and adapts to uneven floors. With only 20 pounds of force, tipping S3 onto its front wheels makes it portable. There are 2 ways to move S3. The wheelbarrow method is best for short distances, while the hand truck is better for longer distances. Place 1 foot firmly on the front of the base between the wheels, making sure your heel is on the ground, and make sure your back leg is far enough behind you for stability. There are 2 ways to move S3 through a standard doorway. Realizing that the S3 won't roll straight through the door, Colin angles S3 around the door frame, sets it down, then positions himself inside the S3 to lift and pivot it through the door. The second method has the same initial setup. Colin angles the S3 around the door frame, sets it down, then instead of positioning himself inside the S3, he walks into the room to pivot it through the door. The base is the heaviest part. It provides stability and is shaped to enable them to stack together like shopping carts. The upright piece has the stretching pegs. Handlebars are curved, providing people with multiple locations to grasp. They are also inclined in 2 directions. They are wider at the back and narrower at the front of the device. They are also higher at the back and lower at the front. This enables S3 to accommodate a wide range of heights and widths. People from 4'8" to well over 6 feet have successfully used S3. Here's the secret. Taller people have longer arms, shorter people have shorter arms. Lastly, the loops on the base, upright piece, and handles provides many options for resistance bands. Here, we use a loop on the handles. Here, we use a loop on the base. Now Colin is going to tell you how S3 works.
Here's Lori, who had a stroke and is moving independently within the device, strategically using the handlebars for stability. She's come a long way thanks to a great attitude. Great job, Lori. With your commitment, S3 can reduce falls by allowing people to explore their true balance limits, creating what we call a wobble. This is potent medicine, as it means balance is being challenged more than usual to foster improvement, regardless of age or functional status. This wonderful lady is fighting stage 4 cancer, and it looks like she's winning. S3 group classes are a great way to scale a reduction in fall risk, and you can use one of our video classes in the Partners Portal at s3balance.com, or create your own using our movement library. Regardless, always make sure people maintain safe hand position, as you can see here. Now, a closed grip, like I'm doing here, is for people who are new to S3 and as a transition between exercises. Remember, we're going for a wobble, which you can see here. So people should have an open grip like this as soon as they're willing. Your verbal cue should be straighten your fingers and lighten your grip. If that's too easy, progress to a floating grip, which looks like this. Yeah. Now this is important. Make sure that during a floating grip that the hands are within about an inch of the handlebars to facilitate quick control if needed. You never allow a person to have their hands here or here. This can't be overstated. A stable body, like you see here, means balance is not being challenged sufficiently, so improvement will be minimal. The trick is achieving a controlled wobble with safe hand position. And safe hand position is essential when doing strength training on S3. For example, when performing the squat, notice that Joan is only able to squat to about 20 degrees of knee bend, right? But is choosing to float her grip and close her eyes instead of going deeper, which hurts her knees. This is a gutsy move for someone who struggles with balance. Great work, Joan. S3 is also a powerful transfer aid, providing safe support for supine to sit and sit to stand transfers, which also builds strength. As you know, people are getting larger and more difficult to move, which is increasing demand on you and your fellow caregivers. To protect yourself, use S3 to transfer heavier lifts to reduce injury risk. Again, why work harder if you don't have to? S3 also helps flexibility for most areas, including the calf, hamstrings, thighs, hip, low back, chest, and shoulders. Being physical therapists, we're fussy about protecting joints, so please pay close attention to technique. A great benefit of stretching on S3 is that it also trains proprioception to help balance. To learn more about this, we recommend the S3 certification course. Finally, S3 serves as a fall recovery aid to get a person up from the floor. Instead of calling the fire department to get a person up in a non-emergency situation, use S3 and follow a few simple steps outlined in the Partners Portal. And what about safety?
How do you determine if you're working too hard or not hard enough? If someone doesn't work hard enough, improvement will be slow to none. On the other hand, if they work too hard, they risk injury. How do you determine if you're working too hard or not hard enough? Rate of perceived exertion, or RPE. Here's the scale. 0 is not working at all, totally relaxed. 10 is maximum work. To develop strength, you should be at a 5 or greater, preferably a 6 or 7. A 7 is where you want to stop, so that if I offered you a nickel to keep going, you'd say no. But if I offered you $100, you would press on. As an instructor, ask your students, how hard are you working? If a beginner says they're at an 8, change to an easier grip. If they're at a 3, progress their grip. To improve, shoot for a hard intensity, which is between 5 and 7. So, hand position controls intensity, which is reflected in how much a person wobbles. The woman on the right is wobbling too much. She is falling onto the handrails. People should feel like they have a controlled wobble. If you're not sure whether someone is strong enough for an S3 class, watch them do a couple exercises before class. Regardless, place a chair behind them during class in case they need a seated rest break. Lastly, alert people to be careful when walking around the S3 device and to not trip on its wheels or base. You can see how this lady stubs her toe a little bit on the first device. Now that we've covered safety, let's move on to something more exciting. Who should use S3?
So who should use S3? Basically, anyone wanting to be more independent and any staff member wanting less strain. So if you don't like a coworker, encourage him or her not to use S3. Can the person stand? If yes, she should use S3. Does the person use a walker? If yes, he should use S3 to improve balance. Does the person use a scooter? If yes, she should use S3 to improve balance and independence. Can the person get up but needs 1 to 3 people? If yes, should definitely use S3 to improve independence and reduce staff strain. Don't take our word for it. This is Eric.
Victim of a catastrophic stroke over a year ago, several years ago. But because of the S3 machine and hard work, constantly hard work, and it's improved my ability to stand up and move around, which I'm glad to be able to do. Glad to have the S3 machine available to me, and it's available to everyone, and it works.
Great job, Eric. And now, Jean.
Okay, I have kidney cancer that has metastasized into my leg, and because of that, I have lost 3 inches in my left leg, so I don't have the strength. And then when Dave came with this new balance class, I decided that my right leg, which is the only good one, needed to have more strength. And so I felt like this was the right thing for me, and I feel like that it is helping. And I can at least stand on 1 foot now.
You really don't need much space for S3 classes or individual use, as the devices stack together like shopping carts. Further, you can configure classes in a way that minimizes space, such as this circular layout. Just remember to place a chair behind each device before class so that people can rest if needed. Now, S3 classes should be scheduled throughout the day to accommodate as many residents as possible. We've seen great success with scheduling 90-minute time blocks where people sign up on a sheet at the class site. Here's a sign-up sheet at Holidays Gresham Manor, which has 98 out of a possible 105 slots filled for S3 this particular week. Awesome! Given that each class is only 10 to 15 minutes, it's easy for residents to find a time they want. Another option is to replace or integrate S3 with existing chair classes, where residents rotate through the S3 devices. This allows full participation while maintaining activity schedule. Remember, however, that seated activity does not improve standing balance. Standing balance training is needed to reduce falls. Next, you'll need to choose the instructional format. You have 3 choices: staff-led, video-led, or resident-led. For the first 2 to 3 classes, use the staff-led method so you can help get everyone comfortable. Then, progress to video-led classes, in which you can pick a video class from the partner's portal. Finally, progress to resident-led classes within a month or 2, as people tend to learn best from peers. We recommend that you start grooming residents you believe would make strong leaders as early as possible, such as Janet here. Janet does a great job motivating people to keep coming. Lastly, we recommend promoting the class through mealtime announcements, newsletters, social media, placing flyers on residents' doors, and notifying family members. Get excited about S3. You are part of a revolution helping older adults be more independent. Now, when the first day of class finally arrives, which we call the launch, play the welcome video for residents before starting class to help explain the purposes of S3. This video is in the Partners portal on s3balance.com. To keep things simple, stick with the Starter 5 class, which is 5 movements that aren't too difficult, so they tend to accommodate a range of abilities. You can find the Starter 5 in the Partners portal along with a printable PDF. Hopefully, you'll be doing multiple classes to accommodate those who are excited about reducing falls. After classes are done for the day, devices can be stacked out of the way. If you want to know the extent of fall risk reduction from S3, we suggest the Functional Reach Test. It's quick and easy to do. Here you can see Anne doing a functional reach test on a gentleman inside an S3 just to guard against falling. For more details on setting up S3, please go to the launch video and document in the Partners portal at s3balance.com. And how about a recap?
To recap, each person should have an S3 device, so you shouldn't see this. Progress grip as needed to get a controlled wobble. Closed grip, open grip, floating grip. Closed eyes, look up. Here's what it'll look like in action. This class is doing Big Step. There are 3 ways to instruct S3 balance classes. Here we see a staff-led class. Here is a video-led class. And this is a resident-led class, which research shows is the most effective. We recommend transitioning to resident-led within 2 months to optimize learning and minimize strain on you.